Oh. Reconnection successful. There we go. For real this time? Looks like it. We'll see how long it lasts. I feel like it might drop out again at any point here, but hello, welcome back. Don't know how much longer we'll be streaming in general, so it almost came at a good time to disconnect, but we'll still just try to make our decision here with the scroll requirement. It's all kind of garbage again. So I guess we're gonna be rich. If nothing else, we'll have a lot of gold by the time we get out of here, hopefully in one piece. Ooh. Orange crystal plate armor on a Gnoll. Okay, well, definitely picking you up. I mean, it's just such cool armor. I love orange plate mail so much. One of my mega ziggurat characters is wearing this, and definitely does some pretty fantastic work. For now, let's head back to the stairs, or sorry, after I deal with you, my friend. Okay, nothing else come up to us while we're basically lethally poisoned. Small cry away from lethally poisoned at least. And then let's check this out. I mean, nothing quite like in terms of the style here. But what did I want to see? Spells at all possible? We're like almost in the category of being able to cast level 1 spells. Woohoo. I guess we could revisit that Ring of Wizardry that we left behind all that time ago. In fact, was that out in the open? It was. Okay, I was worried that it was inside of the gauntlet or something that we decided to drop that son of a gun. Interesting. Well, I guess I shouldn't worry about it for now. We can kind of just wear it for the moment here. In fact, as much as it's cool and I like it, maybe we will switch back to the willpower just for the interim, for the short term here. Though, again, I'd like to, if we're at all given the opportunity, I think I will swap into that. Okay. Here comes all the poison. Do I have any resistance? What happened? I was gone for a bit. No clue. Yeah, it just seemed to drop for a bit there. Lost connection between OBS and Twitch, but looks like we're mostly recovered now. No promises. We'll see how it goes. And regardless, yeah, it's looking like we're pretty close to the end of my evening here. So let's just try to pop through the rest of Swamp here, maybe, if we're lucky. I was frantically searching. We don't have any resistance potions, unfortunately. So the poison is just going to be a bit of a pain to deal with. I guess I can draw from summoning. Let's get some archers. Oh joy, then I'm confused. That makes sense. I guess I could deal 4. I don't deal 4 summoning. Seems like overkill, but let's just get some bodies in here, hey? Shall we? There we go, okay. 1 Hydra makes their way to us, but that's fine. The bees are gonna do absolutely nothing, unfortunately. That's a lot of swamp dragons. Yikes. I could start reading teleport scrolls, but I feel like they're pretty good odds that it's just gonna drop me directly into the middle of Hell and Havoc here. What I could do, though, is let's draw clouds. That will prevent some poison clouds from dropping in. Then let's elixir, and that will kind of just improve our recovery throughout the fight here. I did want to cloud again, but unfortunately, too little too late in a lot of ways. I should have clouded sooner. In fact, we have some fog scrolls, so using those to give ourselves a little bit of a buffer probably would have been for the best, but alas, here we are. Alternatively, I could commit hard. I could turn into a tree. AC would go down quite a bit, unfortunately, which makes me slightly more terrified of all these sons of guns. But I'm gonna haste, first and foremost. Then I am going to, let's box of beasts, see what kind of friend we get. Hydra has to die, at least slowing the Hydra is a good start. I'll use one more curing, and then I should just turn into a tree so that I'm not wasting too many curings and I don't have to worry about poison. We potentially are going to take a lot more damage than I'd like, but we're at least hasted, so I'm hoping that we can get rid of a lot of these sons of guns before they have a chance to hit too hard. Holy moly. That should just about get us out of the hot water in that very moment. And perfect. We did also get some of the oh so valuable dragon skin that I've been hoping for. So if we can just survive long enough for our tree form to leave, there we go. Can definitely pick up that son of a gun. And let's head back to the stairwell. Oh me, oh my. So our AC is going to go down by 14. Oof. I wish that wasn't our only poison resistance option for sure. Yikes. With the talisman rework, just Gnoll nerf, but a genie buff. Has the same access to forms other species, and it does not take up their spell slots. True. You know, I wasn't thinking about in terms of genie. I was mainly focused on like non-spellcasters, especially like trolls. Seem like they'd be a lot stronger now, seeing as how you're generally training unarmed anyway, and now your troll can turn into a dragon. Like, doesn't that seem like the dream in a lot of ways? At least to me. Here's how it'll work with some other openers as well. Like specifically, I'm thinking about, Jesus Christ, so much poison, man. Deal 4, destruction, kill you for sure. And then the rest of you are pretty much fine. 38 AC against Hydras makes them kind of a joke, fortunately, as long as they're not also mighted. Holy moly. But yeah, I'm curious how the talisman work out for something like Ogre, where Ogres aren't the worst spellcasters, so having a spellcaster start kind of just works, and then you transition into your Dragon Form Manifold Assault, having like, what, 500, 600 health or what have you. Let's bring you upstairs, my 8-headed friend. So yeah, that one's kind of curious for me, but Troll is definitely one that I was excited to try out. But okie dokes, I think I am gonna be happy with the swap into lighter armor here. It does mean that Hydras are gonna be hitting slightly harder for sure, but not having to worry about poison. Pretty huge, all things considered. Oof. Is that, I guess, agony that hit us and suddenly felt real nasty? Body's racked in pain, yes. Well, let's summon once again. Hello, my friends. I wish that my summons weren't in melee range, because unfortunately they're not very smart about that, but doesn't end up causing too much of an issue overall here. And hopefully we can finish off the rest of Swamp while remaining in a single piece here. Holy moly. All that. There's that. I would like a different source of poison resistance for sure. I guess the nice thing about this is it does allow us, or allow our evasion to go back up to decent score. Like 14 versus 23 is a pretty huge difference. Would be nice to have that 38 AC going into Snake, but probably would rather have the poison resistance. It's where it starts to toe the line a little bit. Oh, man. Well. Oh. What else do we wish to do before we wrap up for the evening? I guess I could finish off the last couple floors of Lair since those were left behind. And with those two, I could actually go in the fancy armor for now here. And let's see what I left behind. Potentially going through unexplored stairwell. It was mostly, yeah, elephants and yaks. I feel like we're more equipped to deal with elephants now. They shouldn't quite have the damage output they did before with, again, that 38 armor class. So that is beautiful. And just kind of holding down that tab key, which is probably not the best idea. This is where we get ambushed by something and very suddenly change our the course of our lives, but fortunately that doesn't seem to be the case, and we do just churn through all these sons of guns without too much of a worry overall. I would like to take care of the bogart right away though. Perfect. And yeah, here were a bunch of the enemies that we transformed into all sorts of fun shapes and sizes. But nothing we can't deal with. Fortunately, the bees stay relatively weak. I mean, turning into an adder is not exactly the most terrifying enemy we could hope to see at this stage in the game. So, perfect. And thank you, Nem, for the additional cards as well. Replenish some of the supply now that we burned through a decent chunk of those. Just making our way through Swamp in one piece. But that is all fine and dandy, of course. Well, generally, there's plenty of time to recover. Otherwise, something's going very wrong. If we have to rely on Nem for our every moment, day to day, we definitely find ourselves in hot water sooner rather than later. Your troll shapeshifter run transition from forms into formless unarmed. Oh, really? Is there a reason for that? Like, why not just go dragon all the time? I guess I say that, but at the end of the day, if you have no sources of cold resistance, then yikes, you're going to be in trouble. But any merfolk gladiator transition from formless polearm to form unarmed, so far it feels like martyrs more easily transition in and out of forms than casters. Fair enough. Why do I not read my enchant weapons and enchant armor? Isn't that always the question? I very much have too good to use syndrome, which generally works out for me, especially since oftentimes enchant armor, if I'm playing a character that's wearing heavy armor, chances are I'm going to be using gold dragon scales. So I like to keep a healthy handful around, get that as close to the max plus 12 enchantment as I possibly can. Enchant weapon is one of those that's a bit less definitive. I'm not looking for any one thing in particular on this type of character. Maybe a ranged character, it's like, oh, save it for a triple crossbow, easy. But yes, largely it's too good to use syndrome, and I will take it way further than it has any right to go, but hey, it is what it is. And we'll see, maybe I'll hold it just long enough. In this case, I could definitely benefit, like, if I'm gonna keep with the Demon Whip, I could enchant this baby up to max. I'm not super confident with that. I guess, what weapon would I use? I mean, kind of the joys of being a Gnoll is it could be any weapon, right? But yeah, I guess the sidebar to that is I every once in a while do like to take a look. Is there anything that could be enchanted that I'm definitely not swapping out of? And at this stage, no. A couple of my things are already maxed. +1 helmet with no effect. I would hope that I get rid of this by the end. No guarantees, but would be nice to have something a bit better. +9 Morningstar, hey? Like, that's kind of nice. Triple willpower, which means I can then a bit more safely swap out from my plate armor here. I do love that. Can become dragon if you can't find the dragon talisman. True, very true. It's always the problem with dragon form, even in the current state of the game here, is that you're always hoping that you find the spell at some point. There's never any real guarantees. I'm going to pick up that Morning Star. I have a sneaking suspicion I might be able to make that work. It will attack a bit slower, but hit much harder. And again, make up for some of the willpower that we may or may not lose, depending on how our decision making goes over the next wee bit here. Perfect. Should be able to fairly safely just finish off the rest of our last lair floor here. So we'll see, yeah, what we kind of face in the final room, the final zone, as it were. I mean, a bunch of fire enemies is nothing we can't handle. We at least have the resistances set up for that, as well as dealing cold damage. So kind of works out perfectly at the end of the day here. And yeah, I think we're still okay to spam. You know what? Actually, it's very quickly changing from manageable to not so much. So let's play it a bit on the safe side. Just retreat out of there long enough to take care of our problems a little bit more organized. And let's peek in here. Magic mapping is nice, I guess, and I can definitely beat a fire dragon at this point, so might as well, hey? And that's perfect. We should probably just get rid of these ID scrolls. I doubt we're gonna end up using them. In fact, what is left that's un-ID'd, I wonder? Not a lot. As we suddenly take a lot more damage than expected. Tab not prioritizing the right enemies there, if you ask me, but hey, it is what it is. And nothing we can't handle really after all. Beautiful. What was I just thinking about? Oh, right, ID scrolls. So we can take a quick peek. It's probably just some potions. Yeah, magic resistance. Yeah, I'll drop those sons of guns. Always find one or come back for it, really, if we desperately want those potions I need. It would be nice to figure out resistance as soon as we pick one up, but that's fine. And yeah, I guess that's that for now. We could start on Snake if we so desired, but I'm curious about the timing on that, because rejoining the run halfway through Snake seems like an easy recipe to an early death when we come back to this next week. But do have a weird amount of time left over that I was kind of alright to keep the stream heading on here, so let's check it out, shall we? Do Snake Pit, and can at least get fully prepared there. Dragon also comes online before Storm forms. There's reason to use it, even if you do find Storm. I guess that does kind of make sense. That's definitely how it worked out in practice in the previous versions of the game, right? Because Storm form was multi-school and Dragon form was single. So you could fairly easily get Dragon form online by just mainlining that transmutation. But very interesting. Regardless, I think we will be swapping over to this setup. Freeze Morning Star, poison resistance. Feels weird for sure. Don't like the reduction in armor class. We might change our mind sooner rather than later, but let's check it out and see how things are looking, shall we? So can definitely just bring some of these buddies upstairs. In fact, we'll kind of continue doing so. If I can get the Guardian Serpent to follow me, that's ideal. Perfect. And otherwise, definitely not looking too bad so far here. Good damage output on our end to keep up with all of our new friends. Okay. Well, kind of just hiding away from the Guardian Serpent. Ah, they found me anyway. That's cool. If I could, then I would. You know what? That will have to do for now. In fact, we can just bring these sons of guns In for a bit of ring around the rosy. I am getting surrounded, which I hate to see, but fortunately they keep putting their slow members at the front of the army. So we can kind of just cheese our way. Ring around the rosy here temporarily, and that is perfect. Holy. Okay, well, not too shabby, all things considered. Definitely, yeah, taking more damage than I'd like with the reduction in AC, but does seem to be completely worth it and manageable, I guess, is the more important part of that. So that is beautiful. And let's just churn through the first couple floors at least. I don't know, depending on how this goes, we might get a bit further or a bit less deep than originally expected in the final stretch here, as it were. But you never know with Snake. Snake is weirdly inconsistent for that. There's the longest period of time where I definitely viewed Snake as the scariest of all the S branches, just because it always feels really rough when you get dropped into like a Guardian Serpent, then you're surrounded by Anacondas, you're constricted, so both your blink to try and escape and any attempts to head back up the stairs are just constantly failing. Always a bit of a nasty spot to find yourself in. But at least it made me slow down, and, you know, just giving areas in DCSS the respect they deserve is oftentimes the biggest step you can take towards succeeding. Because at the very least, it resists the constant pull of hubris from having any, you know, large or important effects on us. Ooh, I'm gonna buy a ring of poison resistance though. And let's swap something like this. Protection from fire. Protection from fire would still be nice to have for all the salamanders, I guess, but that seems like a pretty solid trade just to get our defenses back in line here.